they put together this great video. Well, Marcus Pittman did the video, but a couple of folks from the church are going to be doing videos because we have a number of children in the congregation that have special needs. And these days, very often those special needs are discernible in the womb. And hence, automatically, the issue of abortion comes up. So here is the Wybrew story. I thought I'd share that with you. And also the reality that young man on the right was one of the folks I got to baptize Sunday night. So here's their story.
This is Luke Elijah. He has hydrocephalus. We chose not to murder our son and chose life.
So we found out that we were pregnant with Luke when Seth was 2, and we were so excited. We did an ultrasound, and we found out that his cranial cavity, it just appeared empty. So what's wrong with Luke is that he doesn't have the normal tube in the spinal cord that drains the fluid that's inside the brain. So the brain kept swelling and swelling and swelling. And so his head kept getting larger and larger, and when he was a baby, it was the size of an adult head. I remember seeing the ultrasound. I remember like looking at it and just seeing black where you should normally see brain. And I remember that we got transferred to a perinatologist, and the perinatologist said that the likelihood of him surviving this pregnancy was low. We were told that we were still within our rights to have an abortion at his gestational age. You know, just because our baby is sick doesn't mean that we're going to have an abortion. We knew that it was going to be a hard road ahead, and I read statistics that 1 out of every 19 babies with Luke's diagnosis is murdered. I was just so sad that they wouldn't even give him a chance for life.
Well, the fact that they were just ready to immediately offer that as the only option.
We were already so strong in our faith that the road to the Lord and on our knees was already paved. And so when we came across this calamity, we were already set that we're obviously not going to terminate the life of our child and kill them. We were strong in our faith and we were trusting the Lord. But I remember the first thing that when we had a private moment to talk, John said something special that I don't think I'll ever forget.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was at our other house. We were in the bedroom together, just kind of taking in the news. And I remember just putting my head on my wife's abdomen and just saying to Luke, you know, you have a home here.
You know, that was precious to my heart to hear my husband say that. He learned to hold up his head at 10 months. He learned to crawl at 22 months. And then he learned to walk he's only been walking for a month now, and he's 3 years, 6 months. So the Lord has obviously been favorable to us. This is our son, Luke Elijah, and he was born with hydrocephalus.
And when given the option to murder our son, we chose life.
You're my brother. You know that?
We can't do abortion in Arizona because abortion really is murder because God said so.
So there you go. I'm going to tell you, Luke's smile will absolutely light up a room. Everyone who's met him says the same thing. And it was just about a month ago that all of a sudden I walk in and he's just standing there. And because up till then he would go on his knees just all over the place. But now he stands up and is walking around and will talk to you. And he's obviously defied a lot of the odds, and but is a wonderful young child. So that was pretty neat Sunday night for that to happen as well. I guess I might as well transition from that into one of the stories that I just happened to see. Planned Parenthood of New York is removing the name of Margaret Sanger from their buildings because of her connection to eugenics. Yes. And there it is. Man, that was 34 minutes ago. Planned Parenthood New York chapter renounces founder Margaret Sanger over racist eugenics. Now, it is obviously a wonderful thing when Planned Parenthood is willing to admit what Margaret Sanger really was. But if you're still doing what Margaret Sanger designed you to be doing to accomplish the same ends, that's not repentance. Okay? That's not a change. That's not taking a name off while still doing what your founder wanted you to do in murdering black babies who she thought were subhuman, who she thought, her whole idea was to stop black breeding. That was her shtick. That was her thing. That's why Planned Parenthood clinics focus on minority neighborhoods, and especially black neighborhoods. That's the reality. That's the fact. That's not even debatable. It's just that's the truth. It's sad that we live in a day where so many people don't even think there is such a thing as truth. But anyway, that's the case. So they're still there, and they're still murdering the black babies. So take the name of the eugenicist off the building, but still kill the babies means something? If you want the very definition of the emptiness of virtue signaling, that's what it is. That's the emptiness of virtue signaling. We're going to keep doing what the eugenicists told us to do because we make money doing it. But we'll take her name off of the building to try to look like we're virtuous. The sad thing is, virtue is a beautiful word, but virtue assumes the existence of a standard giver. You don't get to decide what virtues you are going to display and what you're not. I mean, this is a great example of Planned Parenthood wanting to have the virtue credit of going along with a current cultural moment. They've been promoting the Black Lives Matter stuff all over the place, Planned Parenthood. And every time they do it, there are 10,000 pushback tweets going, you people are a bunch of hypocrites. Well, you can't be a hypocrite if there is no objective morality. Because if there is no objective morality, you just get to choose what rules you follow anyways. What does it matter? And so they get to get the virtue credit of doing something. Doesn't matter whether it accomplishes anything. It's just doing something today. Just tear down that statue. What does that really accomplish? Nothing, but that's how virtue is done today. But then they stay open in the black neighborhoods to continue killing the black babies. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see how that works. Great. So, Planned Parenthood's New York chapter announces founder Margaret Sanger over racist eugenics, but they don't close their doors. That would be the only meaningful response to a recognition that, hey, you know what? Our whole purpose is really racist eugenics. So maybe we should stop murdering black babies. Maybe you should just stop murdering all babies. Maybe that would be the first step of repentance. Yeah, that would be the first step of repentance. This is true. So that raises another issue. Over the weekend, Representative John Lewis passed away. And we are definitely seeing part of the impact of the woke movement, even within the church. In our society today, a man's consistent support of the murder of the unborn is now considered to be a virtuous thing. Even if that runs directly 1,000% contrary to, in his earlier life, seeking in a nonviolent fashion to bring about civil rights. Which, I remind you, this is the amazing thing, when the civil rights laws were passed, they were passed by Republicans over Democratic objections. And yet he died as a Democrat. And you might say, well, things have changed. What specifically? I mean, things have changed in the sense of what you need to do to get and maintain power politically. But sadly, what that has translated into is whatever gets votes, do it. It doesn't matter whether you have principles at all. The issue of principle is really what is to be brought out here. And amongst Christians, amongst Christian leaders today, there's great eulogizing of the man's civil rights works, but many of them will not even mention his consistent support of the very eugenics movement that Margaret Sanger was the leader of in destruction of black babies, which is self-destruction in that context. Not allowed to talk about those types of things. You're not allowed to allow that to be a part of the analysis of the man's life. But what's interesting is the reverse of that when you talk about historical figures. So today, you have someone pass away, and their support 2 months ago, being a part of blocking passages of bills, that anti-infanticide bills and things like that. Put that away. Because years ago, he did this good thing. And so you put that away. But when we talk about historical figures, George Washington's got to go because of his owning slaves. So where's the balance point there? Because if you're going to say, well, he was a man of his time today, why can't you say someone was a man of their time back then? And is there not a huge difference in the level of knowledge and understanding today than there was in the past in the commensurate issues? I mean, there is no question, biologically, scientifically, philosophically, logically, there is no question of the humanity of the preborn child. We know more. The womb is now transparent. The womb is transparent. Up until only a brief number of decades ago, the child developed almost completely in darkness, other than spontaneous abortions, miscarriages, things like that, where you could see the results. Child development was not well known to us. But now we have more knowledge than ever. And all of the stupid theories about go through a fish stage and then a reptile stage and all the rest of that stuff, we all know that's a bunch of hooey now. It's completely false. We recognize what's going on in the womb now. So there's absolutely no defense to be offered. That's why when you hear the debates taking place in our society now, you don't hear debates from, you don't hear reasoning from the abortion side. You hear slogans. You hear deflections. Let's change the subject. Let's talk about women's rights. In almost anything that you read, there will be nothing about the child at all. And because they know that's a non-winner, that they know, especially since ultrasounds started appearing on refrigerator doors, that is a non-winning direction to go. That you've got to distract the mind from the actual action that's taking place. You've got to. There's no other way to do it. No other way to do it.